Our mission here at Six-Sided Discs is to test, explore, and compare discs and plastics and brands from across the world of disc golf. To help us learn more about disc flight, help educate people on what you may or may not want to throw, and much more. And on that quest, we've now explored a staggering 70 different brands from all over the world. But just when I think our first impression series has run out of brands to explore, you all drop some in the comments for us to discover. So let's take a look together at Flight Lab, because these are our first impressions. Hey everyone, it's Greg from Six-Sided Discs. In an alternate universe, Flight Lab could easily have been the name of our channel, but in this universe, it is the name of a new manufacturer from Indiana. We have 3 discs from Flight Lab: the Dot, the Wayfinder, and the Vapor. And all 3 of these discs are listed on their website, but weirdly, during my routine check of the PDGA's approved discs list, it says they have just one approved disc: the Vapor. Luckily, this fact and many more were cleared up by Cody Groves, the owner of Flight Lab, who generously offered some of his time to answer my many questions. One of the first being, why? Why start a new brand in disc golf? The simple answer for Cody was fitness. Cody is an athletic director and is passionate about fitness in general. He started playing disc golf around the same time I did, late 2019 and early 2020. After playing and attending several tournaments, he was pretty unimpressed with the warm-up areas, with the type of stretching and fitness that was put into disc golf. And he felt like there was a lot of room for improvement. Now, Cody is a longtime admirer of Seth Muncie and Disc Golf Strong. Seth now works with the Disc Golf Pro Tour as their director of safety, security, and player performance. You've likely seen him behind the scenes in some fashion at Disc Golf Pro Tour events. Cody has big plans to make fitness a key focus at Flight Lab. More on that in just a bit. First, though, let's take a look at one of their discs, beginning with their putter, the Dot. Rated at 3400, the Dot is a chunky putter with a big rounded shoulder that slopes up to a flat top. The bottom of the rim should be familiar to gateway throwers, as it looks almost exactly like the bottom of a wizard. But the entire disc should look very familiar to AGL fans, and that's because it is literally the Acacia. When AGL and Gateway ended their partnership a few months ago, I think the first thought everyone had was, wow, AGL is going to be working with Innova. But it also makes sense that a lot of fans of AGL's old molds would be saying, what's going to happen to those molds? Well, the Dot is the first answer to that question. In fact, props to Cody for being upfront and transparent about the Dot's origins, as well as the info that we'll be sharing in a few minutes about the Vapor and the Wayfinder. Because it's so often left for us to guess, it's nice to have confirmation for once. That being said, the Acacia was also rated at 3400, so how will the Dot fly? Well, perhaps unsurprisingly, pretty close to the old Acacia. On a low line, the Dot is nice and straight, ideal for approach shots. But it's also workable. If you put it on hyzer, it can hold that hyzer angle. If you put a little more power on it, you can get nice turnovers like this, or this. Though I don't think Josh would recommend it for forehands. So the Dot is the Acacia. If you liked the Acacia, the Dot's for you. If you didn't, it's probably not. Let's move on then to their mid-range, the Wayfinder. Rated at 5502, we have 2 different Wayfinders that we're going to be throwing today. One is in their premium charter plastic, while the other is in Tarmac, a tacky base blend. Now, when it comes to plastics and Gateway's proprietary partners, it helps to do some translation. So let's do just that. In this case, Tarmac is effectively Gateway's Sure Grip plastic. Once again, it's a tacky base blend with lots and lots of grip, while Charter is most similar to NXT, Gateway's premium blend. The Wayfinder is an interesting design. With vague similarities to popular mid-ranges like the Discmania MD3, it's a wide diameter beaded mid-range. But where the Dot was an existing mold, this one is. But also isn't. Yep, if we go back to that PDGA approval page, you'll notice there's no Wayfinder either. And that's because this disc was approved by a previous Gateway partner, but never actually released. Yep, this is none other than the Shotgun from Black Zombie Discs. Haven't heard of the Shotgun? Neither had I. But that's not going to stop us from figuring out how it flies. And this is very much a tale of 2 discs in 2 different plastics, flying 2 completely different flights. The premium Charter Wayfinder has some excellent versatility. On a slight hyzer, it flips up to flat, holds, and then fades out for a pretty straight shot. If you add some extra power, you can get some turn, but it still likes to find some late fade. The Tarmac Wayfinder, however, is a whole different story because it was super understable. And at first you might think that's a mistake, but it isn't, because the Tarmac Wayfinder is just 163 grams. Cody said that they are intentionally running lighter weight discs from time to time to make sure they appeal to kids, new players with slower arm speeds, and anyone else that might prefer a lighter disc. And so far, a lot of what I'm getting from Cody and Flight Lab is intention. He had answers for all the questions I asked, and many of the choices that they've made here, from existing molds to rebranded plastics and different weights, were very intentional decisions. And in my opinion, they were some good choices. It can be tempting as a new brand to make all new, totally unique discs, but that costs a lot of money in development, in mold production, and that's before you pay for each and every disc. So what other good choices are Flight Lab making? Well, they're building a team to get the word out, including Elijah Bickle and Kevin Fodry, 2 names you may already know. They're also planning to visit Disc South in Texas in March, introduce their own Veterans Benefit Tournament to raise funds for Honor Flight, and of course, their next disc, the Haymaker, with expected flight numbers of 9303. Oh, and I should also mention, part of that focus about fitness is about giving their team and anyone else interested some great fitness tools, something that we can keep an eye out for from Flight Lab in the near future. But before we take a look at their last disc, the Vapor, a quick reminder to come see us at Disc East. Yep, that's right, the first Disc Golf Expo of the season is right around the corner. And if you stop by our booth and show us that you're subscribed to our channel, you'll get a free Flight Numbers Don't Matter Velcro patch for your bag or cart. We hope to see you there. Now let's take a look at the only mold not previously approved for a different company, the Vapor. And at first glance, I felt like the Vapor looked and felt a lot like the Gateway Realm. But upon closer inspection, the rim itself is not too different to the Discraft Scorch. And with flight numbers of 11, 5, -12, the flight doesn't sound too different either. And that's actually pretty close to what we got with the Vapor. Anywhere from a whole bunch of turn to a slight turn and moderate fade. The Vapor also feels great on forehand and flies great on it as well. All in all, Flight Lab's discs caught me off guard. 3 solid discs to start. Some discs with pedigree like the Dot should guarantee some interest from players right from the get-go. So if you found any of those discs worth a look, check them out at flightlab.com or see them and us at Disc South in Allen, Texas in March. What other brands should we explore in our first impression series? Let us know in the comments below. For 6-Sided Discs, I'm Greg. We'll see you in the next one. But just when I think our first impression series has run out of brands to explore, you all drop more in the comments for us to discover. So thank you for your suggestions, and let's take a look at... But he was particularly unimpressed with... okay.
Perfect.
After playing and attending several tournaments, he was pretty unimpressed with the... So if you found any of these discs interesting, take a look there.
Bing!
If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, or becoming a member. Your support makes this content possible.